ICast review. The Hobie tournament, 200 boat tournament coming up this week. Fishing in the heat. All that and a bunch more in this edition. Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream?
What up, Mike Hayer?
The next day you called me up.
Andy Garrett, how you doing, brother?
You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down, oh, and I am blue.
How you doing, Terry Klauser? George Ashbridge, what do you say, George? Rachel, how you doing? David Freeman, what do you say, man? Kevin Geezy. Yeah. Keith Howard, what's up, Keith? Byron Hazy, how you doing, Byron? Raymond. Greg Plank, how are you, Greg? You usually stop in here on Thursdays, Greg. I almost missed the show because you weren't here. Tell us it was a Thursday. Welcome, everybody, to Tackle Shop Live. Every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we are here to talk tackle, fishing techniques, lures, you name it, the whole 9 yards. All the stuff you hear in a tackle shop, that's what we talk about here. My name's Mike Acord. This is George Acord, and behind the camera is cameraman Nick. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Can't complain, Mike. Can't complain. Just got through with a frog strainer. We just had a frog strainer come ripping through the house here. I'm telling you.
That was a brutal storm, man. It was in and out. Look at it. Looks like it never even happened.
I'm sitting.
It was buckets, man. It was buckets of rain.
I was sitting in my truck out in front, waiting for a break in the action to try to get between the raindrops.
Oh man!
And there's a poor son of a gun out here tucked up inside beside the building, riding a bike.
Oh, jeez. Was he wet?
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
He was coming down the road, and I think he was hydroplaning, and he ended up right tucked in behind the building.
Oh, man.
I got out of the truck with that couple beers in my hand for the show, and he's like, yeah, Cole Miller Lights. He didn't care.
Bill McDermott, how do you doing, Big Bill? Man, he was Big Bill was in today, and he's back into fishing, and man, he's like a weekly regular in here now. Man, we have a good time with Bill. He was loading up the basket. Yeah, he had notes today, so I was really.
That's about the only person I know can leave here at closing time and be back home at Maryland Line in less than an hour.
It was like 20 minutes. 100-mile-an-hour Bill, that's what we call him.
Yeah, in a Kia.
Matthew Weimer, how you doing, buddy? Andre, how's everything, my man? So anyway, Tackle Shop Live tonight is recuperating from the long week last week we had down at ICast. We had an absolute blast down there. We got to see all the guys that we don't see on a regular basis. A lot of the factory people who we have friendships with, we always talk to on the phone. It's nice to rub elbows face to face, shake their hands, that kind of stuff. Pick their brains about some inside stuff that's coming down the pipeline, later in the year, maybe next year, mid-season next year, classic release stuff, just talk, and it's really for me, ICast is that. It's the, the personable relationships that you have, and you just kind of kindle all that stuff. And, it pays off in the long run. And, the other thing that we did an extremely, lot of and turned out really well. We brought cameraman Nick with us, and we were able to tag team a lot of video stuff. It's nice to have somebody where, most years I'm trying to do it, and I'm trying to conduct business and do this at the same time, so I'm missing things. Nice to have Nick there running around, shooting some video, getting some content, talking to all the guys, showing you guys what it's like to be at the show. And then it was really cool last Thursday to go live down there. Although it was a short live, we had a good time doing it. I hope you guys saw what the show's about. You saw some of the displays. It's like, man, the manufacturers roll everything out. So it was pretty cool that way. Really cool.
I mean, we've been going to ICast for many, many years. And, it's changed quite a bit. It's much, much, much smaller than it's ever been. The attendance was at its lowest level that we've ever seen. But that was kind of good for us because we had full access for interviews and for filming. And also we got a little more attention from our manufacturers. So when we were, working on wheeling and dealing, and when we were working on setting up our promotional calendar for next year, we had their ear a little better than we might have had.
Oh yeah, we took well advantage of that. Absolutely.
On its normal.
Oh yeah,
because we've been at the show already when it was pre-COVID.
Oh yeah,
when it was big.
Yeah, I mean,
bustling.
Yeah, this time, if we had a half an hour meeting with somebody, it was 45 minutes to an hour because we were able to roll over and they weren't really pressed for time. Any other year, you have 30 minutes and you got to get out of there. They're moving on to somebody else. So, which is understandable. They have to see everybody too. So it was nice that way. But that comes with the price tag. You're there. Get up early in the morning, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying what it's like. You get up early in the morning, you go over to the show, the show starts, and you're there from 9 a.m. till 6:37, and you don't sit down. You're constantly going because you got a meeting every half an hour, and we're running around like a bunch of crazy people, covering the ground.
Well, we have some meetings that were 2 and 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It wasn't like every half hour. Some meetings are heavy duty involved,
intense.
3-hour productions.
Yeah.
With like, I mean, you feel like you're in some kind of a Zoolander episode, man, the way they're running the runways with these products.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Being my first time, and I hope everybody appreciated that, the social media and what we were trying to do. The pros were great. I mean, they actually can hear me.
Your mic's not working.
What's going on here, Nick?
I don't know.
What are you plugged into? Uh-oh. Sound check didn't work, Nick.
Sound check doesn't work.
Check. Let me plug you into 4 here.
Hello. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah. So that was our road trip to ICast. And we went down a day early. We did an on the water segment, which gives us a little extra time to cover some more turf. We can kind of squeeze it into, we can kind of make it like a extra half day. We get to see some of the manufacturers that we have scheduled meetings with, but we get to see them in a much more relaxed outdoor setting. And what's cool about that is there's actually a series of ponds behind their on the water setup. So officially ICast opens on a Wednesday, but the on the water is a Tuesday. So it's like a pre-ICast. And it's interesting in that the kayak / paddleboard / personal watercraft or whatever that category is called, that has grown in the years that I've been at ICast. That has grown on the water segment to about 50% of the floor space of the on the water segment. I mean, because you have these ponds that you have access to. They put some docks in, and you can try out these different personal watercrafts. I guess that's what they're called. Last year, or the year before, whichever year wasn't COVID, was, if you'll recall, was Trolling Motor Wars. Trolling Motor Wars was when Garmin and Lowrance were firing cannonballs at Minn Kota, and they actually launched bass boats in these ponds. And we had the opportunity to literally, drive and test these boats on the water. So, this on the water thing, it's modestly attended, but for us, it's an extra day to maybe get into some cutting edge stuff, which we did, which we will be talking about. There is a bait that we demoed on the water that went from a hero to a zero real quick. So that was our ICast trip. Our next little thing we're going to do here is we are going to roll into kind of just a few highlight items that we saw on our trip. The number one question at ICast that every manufacturer asks you as soon as you are breaking the ice for your meeting is, hey, did you see anything interesting? No, I had my eyes closed. So normally, and some years it's kind of sad. The answer is not really, because there's a lot of me too in this industry. There's a lot of, well, let's all make a chatterbait. Let's have 900 chatterbaits, and let's have, that kind of momentum. But this year, although it was a smaller ICast, from a product innovation standpoint, I felt as though it was a mighty ICast.
Yeah,
there were some strong products there that I think are going to offer both value and open up some new horizons.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that too. But there was a lot of copy stuff, stuff that for instance, like
there always is
some colors, like a lot of the releases were new colors for already existing bait, which is really cool because we love those colors, but it's not innovative or anything like that. However,
some of them were.
However, the products that were innovative, I mean, it's crazy some of the stuff that came out. I mean,
when you talk about a big company, and we're going to use Z-Man for an example here because they had a couple of very interesting launches, if you will. And Mike says, it might be as little as a color. Okay.
Yeah.
Follow me along here.
Yeah.
So if Z-Man puts out a color, and this year they had 3, like what I would call key colors that they are going to release in the near future. What's interesting about that is the company is so huge, their product line is so huge that those 3 colors end up being like 40 items.
Yeah.
Because they're going into so many different items. So it might seem like an insignificant little thing.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing. And, for example, they had a Pro Perch color that was really revolutionary for Z-Man. So it could be as little and subtle as that. So you really have to be on your toes when you're there as a buyer who's trying to provide, our company, we always try to provide cutting edge goodness.
Yeah.
And so we're like dotting our I's and crossing our T's and paying very close attention to the rustling of the leaves. Maybe it's just a color.
But speaking of a color in Z-Man that they came out with, that was their perch color.
I just said that like a minute ago.
Yeah,
Perch.
The Pro Perch color.
Yeah.
But the color itself is really cool. It's like a muted type of a perch color. If you guys see it, I mean, I'm sure they have it out there on all the sites now and everything. But it's a real muted perch color.
Kind of natural looking.
It's very natural, but it's not like banded or anything.
No,
but it's
no.
But the green is muted really nice. It's going.
Yeah.
I think it's going to show up real nice in the water. The belly is a really good clear with some gold flake in there, and kind of resembles that perchy.
Well, the last
perchy kinda color.
times they brought out a perch color was called the perfect perch.
Yeah.
And of course, we immediately are thinking, when we go up north
Yeah.
and we fish lakes that have a perch forage base. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? The interesting thing about perfect perch was, in my world, I've done way better with it locally.
Yeah.
Than I have up north in waters that don't even feature perch.
Yeah.
But the color of the bait really worked well in certain watercolors and sky colors.
Yeah.
So it's not always just, well, this looks like a perch and a bass isn't going to eat it if he doesn't identify it as a perch.
No,
It doesn't work like that.
no. Then in Z-Man, they came out with some new colors in the chatterbait.
They did. They're doing
I think there's, 4 colors in that?
4 colors in chatterbait. Again, on its surface,
Jackhammers.
Yeah, on its surface, it might not seem really exciting, but it's a jackhammer, so my attention's flared up.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I mean, I only fished 98.9% of my entire life with a jackhammer. They have a fire crawl with an orange blade, similar to what they did in Big Blade.
Yeah.
Okay, well, not similar to it. It's exactly like it.
Basically the same thing.
They have a blueback herring.
Yep.
That is a really nice looking clear water shad color.
Yeah.
And I'm going off of straight up memory here.
Yeah.
So, work with me.
Thought there was a gold.
There is a dirty white, which has a gold blade.
Yeah.
And that white with that gold blade can play.
Yeah.
In certain parts of the country, they don't even fish a white with a silver blade.
Yeah.
We do a lot of our tidal water fishing with white with a gold blade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And, we've been switching skirts on gold bladed chatterbaits for a long time to get that effect. And then the 4th color, probably not going to be able to remember that. It's the grooviest, sexiest one of them all.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have it written down here.
You do?
Yep, of course.
Oh.
I'm prepped up, bro.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so
It's my first day, dog. Look here, it's called. Oh, it's color number 23.
Yeah, there you go.
Color number 23. That's the hot one.
That's the hot one.
Get you some.
It's funny. Everybody says, well, what'd you see? Well, we saw so much stuff that we actually rely on photos on our phones to take pictures of stuff and video. So we're kind of, when we need to know something, we kind of review it through our phones or we review it on our video. Because it's just so much stuff, and not everybody has gotten all the information to us yet. So, I will have to plead the fifth on that last color.
It's color number 23, people.
Yep. So then,
it's a peach.
Yeah. So that's jackhammer. All you jackhammer junkies, that stuff will be rolling in here. That's going to be really great stuff to add to your box.
Well,
and then
not for nothing. While you're talking about Z-Man. So basically the question as I related to you that we get asked by at every meeting that we're in is, hey, what was the most impactful thing you've seen at the show? Or, hey, what's the coolest thing you've seen at the show? Or, hey, what's the showstopper for you? Well,
yeah,
we got the answer to that question out of the way before the show started.
Absolutely.
And it's the Z-Man Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Which on its face value,
I guarantee you no one would buy it if they just looked at it.
Yeah, on its face value, it's not a very impressive bait. It's kind of
looks like something
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks like it's something a kid would make and just start hanging stuff on a stick.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
You know what I mean?
Like, hey, let's put the eye here. The line tie is like underneath the bait and back a little bit, which forms a lip. But
fortunately, they showed it to us while we were on the water.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, this little pre-game thing that we do, which basically costs us a day.
And it's like walking on the face of the sun.
We've always hit something cool on the water.
Always.
And this was,
we took it
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Here's the new color of this. Here's the new jackhammer this. Here's the new deal that. Here's the Hellraiser. Whoa.
Yeah, what is this thing, man?
Hold up. We already had the Hellraiser on our radar because we get the ICast press releases, sell sheets.
But even then, we looked at it and we were like, what is this freaking thing? What are they trying to push off on us here?
Well,
and then we get to the water And George says, "What? Yeah, I got to throw this thing.
Yeah, let's throw this.
Let's take it down and throw it." So we get down to the water, and George throws this thing out, starts reeling it in, and immediately we both go,
Yeah.
holy shit. That
Yeah,
thing is freaking cool.
And the national sales manager for Z-Man was like, he wasn't watching anything but our faces for the expression. And I literally, you know, it was crowded down there, so I had to kind of make a weird cast.
Yeah.
And I literally like cast a kind of a short distance because it's not my rod and reel. I don't know what somebody has backlash in it or whatever. I don't want to look like a freaking chuck wagon out there. I want to look like the skilled high level top angler professional that I am. You all know that.
Yeah.
You can ask any of these guys.
Yeah.
So it was like, put it out there, turn the handle. Like, meanwhile, we're going like this, like, and Glenn Young is like, yeah, dog. And that's the deal. So the Hellraiser is basically a top water driven by a chatterbait.
Really cool bait.
Really cool bait.
Can throw a ton of water. You can slow it down really super slow. Has a ton of range to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple of really key colors.
They're giving us a
unreal, man. Unreal.
They're giving us a ETA of 10-1.
Yeah.
But I have a little bit of a feeling that it's going to be a little earlier than that.
Yeah.
And we
so we should be able to have it for our fall topwater season.
Yeah, the fall topwater bite. And
I'm excited to throw that thing.
You know, the farther in the south, central, southeast that you live,
yeah,
you'll definitely get a good month or two of topwater bite on it.
Yeah.
Up here in the mid-Atlantic to the northeast, you might only get a couple weeks to a month. But
what's interesting about that bait, George, and everybody, so I know that chatterbait lip on the back. I know I've seen that somewhere. I know what that is. I've seen it somewhere. Well, it was a blade that was designed by the guy who invented the
Ron Davis.
The guy who invented the chatterbait. And that blade, they didn't sell it to, but they gave the permission for Strike King to use it on their original chatterbait.
Right.
When they first came out with it. I forget the name of it.
Something like Chuckle Wagon or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it was whatever it was. It didn't really go over that well. But it's a blade with a little teeny weight on it. And we're looking at this thing. We're going, we know that blade. We know that blade. And then they explained to us that the patent is still owned by this Ron Davis. Yeah. And it's
Rad Industries.
Yeah.
Rad Lures.
Yeah. Rad Lures. And so that's where, when you see that blade, guys, and you're going, man, I know I saw that blade somewhere. That's one of them. That's what it is. It's a Strike King. They're the first Strike King chatterbait that they had out. Can't think of the name of one of you guys.
Well, it's not the first one.
Rage Blade. Yeah, Josh.
It's not the first one they had out. It's
Josh
the second
Sawyer.
one they had out.
Yeah.
The second one they had out. The first one they had out was called Pure Poison. The second one they had out was called a Rage Blade.
Rage Blade. Yeah. So that thing.
And that blade is owned by Ron Davis.
Yeah. So they put that on the back. He
licensed to Strike King.
Yeah, and Ron Davis, like George said earlier, was a designer of this lure. And he's been working on this Hellraiser for a while, and he finally dialed it in with that blade on the back, and that thing was the key to the bait. So pretty cool story, and that's the kind of stories you get when you're there. I know Nick was really super pumped being there and talking to these guys, because you get those inside stories, you get those inside scoops. You talk to the people that are designing the baits, and you talk to the head honchos, and they're the ones explaining the bait to you while you're throwing it. You know, what was he? He's like the vice president of the company or something, or president of the company. I don't know.
National sales manager
or whatever. You know, he's a big wig in the company. And yeah, right. What was that? That was yeah. So we stopped at well, I'll tell that story a little bit later, but out on the water with one of the other on the water things we saw was the rat from I don't know who made that rat. Who's making that rat?
I wasn't going to go there, so I don't have it in my notes.
Bill Samantle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he works for Akuma.
Yeah, he works for Akuma, and he made this rat. So
Fish Lab.
Yeah, he's like, well, you got to throw this thing around. So I took it down there with this rod, and I'm like, all right. So I come back and I throw it. Well, here down inside the spool, somebody, it wasn't me, Nick. You're still looking at me like I threw this backlash. But I throw this rat out and it goes down, it's going out, and it hits this backlash down inside the spool, and the lure snaps off and flies out into the middle of the lake. And these guys are looking at me like, what you doing? I said, I didn't do shit. Somebody had this thing backlash. It wasn't me. I don't backlash reels. Like, and so this lure's out there floating around the lake, and they told me that somebody else did that, and they had to go get it with a kayak. So,
well, there's plenty of them.
Oh, and the other thing I saw out there on the water was somebody actually catch a fish.
I did too.
That's the first time in
that fish probably had
10,000 baits,
like 400,000 casts reeled over its head, and finally it just freaking snapped.
Yeah, somebody caught a 3-pounder. It was a nice little fish.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, it was a nice fish.
And swung it on the bank, and and everybody goes, starts freaking out.
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
The equivalent of trying to catch a fish in this pond is like the equivalent of going to a swimming pool on Memorial Day weekend and trying to fish in the pool. I mean, they're frothing this bad boy up with every manner of vehicle and rod and reel.
And these kayakers are all rowing around and paddling everywhere, and it's like this guy walks down, and you know what? He was determined to catch a fish. If you watched him, we were there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. He kept going up and getting another lure and piling it on and coming back down. He was determined to catch one. So
he got his
he got it. He got it. So good for him.
Yeah.
So what else? Anything else in Z-Man there, George? Do you want to touch on?
No, not really going anywhere else in Z-Man.
We did have a question about: are you going to stock the micros?
Oh yeah. I mean, there'll be all that stuff will be coming in.
There you go.
You're not going to see a lot of it.
No.
Just so you guys understand, when you see these videos that we do, and when we talk about this stuff, not hardly any of it is available, nor will it be available until late fall or next year.
Yeah.
We're just talking about it because ICast, for some reason,
is in July,
chooses to have their show at the absolute worst time of the year for the fishing industry.
Yeah.
And we're kind of held hostage. And the problem is that all the punch wears off. All the new excitement and punch wears off. Like if we had all these products in stock, we'd have tractor trailers pulling up out front. But by the time they come in, you know, the 30-second news cycle has cycled through, and we're on to the next big thing. So we're just trying to kind of do the best we can with this freaking system that somebody came up with. I don't know who. Somebody apparently that wasn't in the sales part of the fishing industry.
Yep.
So, you know, now some of the products, you know, come in earlier, but most of them do not.
Yeah. So Josh Scheuer, how you doing, buddy? Mike McNicholas, how you doing, Mike? Appreciate everything there, buddy. The info. Yeah, our brains are a little fried. We can't remember everything all the time. Yeah, Greg Dirt, how you doing? Pure Poison, righto. Robert Bretz, how you doing, pal? These guys know this stuff. You know, our customers know everything. They're so freaking smart. Kenny Hodgen, how are you, buddy? Rush Downey, he answered the Raids Blade question. Appreciate that. So, so the other thing, let's talk about some other cool stuff that happened down there, George. What other products did
well, there actually was a few products that did come in so far. Jackal has, you know, every year, Jackal's a really small, like, boutique Japanese lure company. And every year they have a couple of cool deals. Yeah. This year they decided to make a little buzzbait.
I love this buzzbait. I freaking love this thing.
Don't get too in love with them because they're just about sold out.
I know, but I'm just saying, I really love them things.
A little buzzbait called a Darabuzz. And it's just a little 1/4 ounce, you know, finesse buzzbait. And, you know, the interesting thing, we had a buzzbait show not too long ago. And one of the things we did not do a really good job of addressing on that show was the different sizes of buzzbaits. Like, when do I throw a 1/2 ounce buzzbait? When do I throw a 3/8 ounce buzzbait? Yeah. When do I throw a 1/4 ounce buzzbait? Yeah. This buzzbait here is actually a 1/4 ounce, but it's got the profile of an 1/8 ounce buzzbait.
Yeah. Thin skirt, small head.
Yeah. It's an 1/8 ounce size buzzbait that weighs a 1/4.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you think about Man, that's annoying, isn't it?
Well, we can only hear it.
If you think about, for example, lakes that are shad-based forage. You know, we always talk about in the spawn season, we always talk about the shad spawn. Okay, we always talk about the bluegill spawn, particularly the shad spawn. You know, when those shad first hatch out, they're real little. And they're just everywhere. If you have a good shad spawn, I mean, there's just balls of them wadded up, you know, and they're little. They grow real quick, but obviously they're little. When your bluegill spawn hatches out, they're like the size of a quarter, you know, and that is a great time of the year to choose a small buzzbait. So, you know, why would I buy this buzzbait? When would I fish this buzzbait? Well, that's one scenario. Another scenario for a little buzzbait is a mayfly hatch. So if you have like we live on the Susquehanna River here, and the Susquehanna River, like many lakes and rivers in this country, is benefiting from the effects of trying to clean up the environment, trying to clean up our waterways, trying to clean up our world. And you know, this one of the benefits of this is our waters are having these booming mayfly hatches over, you know, I mean, some of these, like our area here, we have a mayfly hatch every night of the week to some extent.
Yeah.
That is another great option for a small buzzbait.
Yep.
So, you know, the when you look at the little buzzbait, you're like, well, no, you know, when do I throw the little buzzbait? Well, there's a couple of really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is a light buzzbait. You could throw this on a spinning rod.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could throw this on a spinning rod, but you could also throw it on a bait caster.
Yeah.
So that was a new Jackal release that's actually here. They were here before we got back.
Yeah.
Now we did order them before we left, but we actually ordered some more from the showroom floor, and they were here before we got back.
Yeah.
We didn't have the luxury of seeing some of this stuff when we ordered it to try to get it here quickly for you. A lot of times we'll order stuff without really getting a really good up close and personal grasp on it.
Yeah.
And you know, this particular item we ordered, but we didn't order the proper quantities. And these are selling really hot. So when we were at the show, we actually wrote another order and they shipped them both together. So this is the Bee Crawl Swimmer, which is also a Jackal. And it's basically a swim jig. A little different than a lot of them. It has a double
wire guard.
Yeah, like a coated wire guard.
There's something very unique about that jig too. That's pretty cool.
What is that?
The head size. The head size is the same on the quarter as it is on the 3/8.
Oh, okay.
So you know how sometimes you get a quarter and the head size is smaller and it changes your, you know, maybe changes your profile a little bit. The weight changes, but the head size stays the same.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you know, they're touting it as a really good swim jig for wood.
Yep.
For crawling through brush piles. That's the bee crawl technique, which is something that, you know, is a fringe technique in Japan.
One thing that thing does come through is with a little point protector.
Yeah,
so
take
George, make sure you take that off when we go fishing.
Take that off
in a tournament.
Yeah. So the big lake over in Japan that gets all the fishing pressure and is their #1 lake with tremendous fishing is called Lake Biwa. And one of the little micro techniques that's forming up over there is crawling swim jigs through brush piles. So bee crawl.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love the way they name
Play
stuff.
on words, you know.
Paula Ziegler, tell your husband that on this particular 1/4 ounce buzzbait, you can throw it really nicely on a medium heavy spinning rod. And you'll throw it really good and really accurately. You can still throw it on a bait caster, 7-foot medium action, 7-foot medium heavy, fast, extra fast taper, no problem at all. But yeah, you can throw it on a spinning rod too. Hope that helps.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool over at the Jackal camp.
Yeah.
And while we were over there at the Jackal camp, that's all part of the Shimano group.
Yeah, and all those guys were jacked up on that flash boost. We got a chance to talk to all the pros over there because it was, like I said, they were very hands on with us, and we were able to talk directly to them, and they really went over this flash boost technology in the jerk baits. We got to talk to them about their baits and what they liked. Alex Davis spent a lot of time with us talking about, why the flash boost, why he likes it, and we kind of corner him. We kind of put these guys on the spot when we talk to them. We ask them questions straight up, like, this is, listen, this no bullshit. Why would you throw this bait? I mean, we so then they would tell us this stuff and explain it to us a little deeper. So it was neat to pick their brain on that, but big time on the flash boost.
Yeah. And continuing with that flash boost product line, they are doing a big, not huge, but a big S glide type swim bait called an Arma joint.
Yeah,
which is
what a friggin' cool bait.
It's flash boost technology.
Yep.
It's got the scale pattern,
and it has a really cool hinge that
has a hinge and a weight transfer, so it folds.
Yeah.
It folds almost in half during the cast.
Takes the bait when you cast, it folds it like this. And it really does it. I did it how many times, Nick? Remember when we were fishing that thing? There's another thing. We threw it in the pond to see how it would go. And I'm telling you, you can wake this thing really easily. You can burn it. You can fish it real slow. It swims really well. But when you cast, the thing folds in half and it really casts very good. Doesn't tumble. It really helps with that type of stuff when you're throwing those big baits. It casts out really easy.
Yeah, and a big portion of our bass fishing world these days is swim bait. I mean, the swim bait movement is really a big deal. There's it's
ramping up again.
There's a lot of swim bait fishermen that are dedicated to it. There's a lot of newcomers to swim bait fishing. There's a lot of interest and drive in swim bait fishing, as evidenced by the Shimano Arma joint, which they decided to bring over from Japan. As evidenced by the Spro collaboration with KGB.
Chad
to deliver the Chad Shad.
Yeah.
Which is a 7-inch, 2 1/4 ounce glide bait.
Cool bait.
Designed and
I'm going to paint a picture with the tail.
Made to be
Chad paint drawing,
built according to the guidance of the guy that owns the company. I mean, he collabed with Spro, but you can see that with that Arma joint. You can see that with the Chad Shad. You can see that with
he named that after his brother Chad.
Mm-hmm. You could see that with the Bass Mafia soft plastic boot foot swim bait, the dangerous.
Yeah.
The dangerous swim bait, which is a Zaldane.
Chris Zaldane
spin-off from his Mega Bass days.
Yeah. Some of the changes that he wanted to do to the mag draft that they couldn't get done. He built in this bait, squared the bottom off a little bit, put some fins out to the side to stabilize it, and put a bigger thumper tail on the back so you get a little bit more wag out of it. And the other thing that was a big key for them when they were talking about it was speed. They got a lot of speed out of you can fish it a lot faster than you can in mag draft.
Which is interesting because
so it's different.
When Zaldane talks about fishing the mag draft, he emphasizes the painfully slow retrieve that is critical to draw these big strikes. Yeah. I mean, you go back to any of his mag draft discussions.
I think I was the design of that bait was a slow retrieve bait, where this one, would be something that he wanted for speed and he couldn't get out of that.
Well, it's a different option. It's a different option. But if you look at the swim bait revolution that's taken place, and then you go to ICast and you see these, here's 3 or 4 really key swim baits
Yeah.
that are legit.
Yeah.
Of course, we're in on all of them. We're just waiting for them to get here.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. So then you know, while we were there in that booth, which is Shimano, we were able to look at all the new Shimano releases that are coming out, and they are redoing the SLX series.
Yeah, they're doing a new generation of SLX rods.
And they are friggin' beautiful.
They are.
They're
The price did not change.
No, same price, but they're super beautiful. Totally
super light.
Totally different blank. I asked them if it was the same blank. It's a totally different blank, all new, redesigned. A lot more bang for the buck, wouldn't you say, George?
It's really nice.
It's super nice.
Really nice. And a lot more models. Speaking of swim baits,
Yeah.
they have in this SLX $99 SLX line. Now the swim bait rod I think is 109.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Or 129 even. They have some legit swim bait rods.
Yeah.
In that lineup. So I mean that lineup has grown. The blank construction has, you know, grown with the times.
Yeah.
I mean, techniques are changing all the time.
Yep.
Their rod building techniques are changing. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The other thing that caught our eyeball there was the launch of a spinning reel.
Oh, yeah.
They launched the Marival. And what's interesting about it is they took a Dynamite spinning reel. They're Nasky.
Yeah.
They
carbon fiber body.
CI4 body.
Yep.
Not just a regular carbon fiber body, a
No.
CI4 body.
CI4 body.
And an MGL rotor.
Right.
$129.99.
Ah, ridiculous.
So
it's going to be a
light,
crazy
as a feather.
selling reel. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What other reels at the show, Mike, caught your eye?
Thank you, Nick.
You really got to think about it, don't you?
You do. You really do.
Not me.
Oh yeah.
Not me.
What?
No, I don't have to think about it.
No.
How about a $499.99 Lew's bait caster?
I was just kind of leaning that way. That and the redesign of the
what's that called? The Elite TI.
Yeah.
The Elite TI.
Exceptional reel, man.
So
really cool.
You know,
braking system on that.
It's magnetic reel.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, a straight up magnetic reel cannot occur at $500. You can do that.
No.
Because that ain't going to fly with today's highly skilled and highly intelligent anglers. Okay, our modern day fleet of anglers are students of the game, masters of the game, and these manufacturers ain't getting away with smoke shows. Now, they have a hardened, and I mean, you know, I kind of started taking the reel apart in the booth. I mean, I was getting some.
Yeah,
there were some people coming up in on me.
Yeah,
when I was in my disassembly phase.
Well, the funny thing was nobody could explain it to us except for,
you know, I'm like, well, can you explain this braking system to me? And all of a sudden they were speaking in Latin again. It was all Latin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I deciphered it as,
I
believe the Latin word for that is bullshitus. So I kind of started taking the reel apart and, you know, I'm looking at this braking system. Now our rep had a grip on this thing.
Yeah.
He had a grip on this braking system. I don't know if he had a moment of clarity. I saw the sweat beading up on his brow. I was like, would you like a cigarette? As I was putting him up on the firing line. Any last requests? So, and he's like,
yeah,
I got it.
Yeah.
And he actually explained the braking system quite well. And it's It's a magnetic system, yes. It's about as close as they could get to replicating the Daiwa braking system without going to the gulag.
Yeah.
So it's an edge. It's an edge of the spool braking. It's pretty ingenious.
Yeah. There's a lip on the spool that the magnets,
and they're curved.
yeah, and it's curved, so when you can dial it in and you get this different amount of magnets on that thing, but it's not centrifugally driven, so it's not.
It's a magnet reel.
It's a magnet reel,
but it's a high performance.
Right, it is
magnet reel.
They said that every little adjustment makes a big difference in the reel, so it's going to be it's a pretty cool little system. The spool is ultra light. Super light spool for casting.
Oh yeah, and the
reel's beautiful.
It's got hardened aluminum drive gear.
Yeah,
and it's got their big oversized P2 piston.
Yep.
Or pinion.
What's
it, like a diesel motor? Now I'm talking pistons.
It's all right.
And it has, as you might expect, like a really high grade aftermarket bearing on the spools.
Yeah.
So it's she whistles, man.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. The Lose $499.99. I mean, that's not necessarily your Lose price point, but let me tell you, she's pretty.
And I think the Custom Pro TI is redone.
2.0.
2.0. Beautiful.
2.0.
Changed it. They have a more recessed on both those reels. They have a recessed adjustment, so it doesn't get in your way. The guys complained about that, making adjustments when they're fishing by their palm by accident. This thing's kind of tucked away. Very, very, very light, very nice. So you guys that like that Pro TI, you'll love this thing. So that was pretty cool in their booth.
There wasn't.
What was I going to say about Daiwa? We went over to the Daiwa booth, had a nice little meeting with them. They're coming out with a really cool rod called the Tatula XT. Again, a price point that's going to be a super sweet price point, $99.
$99.99.
And it is a really good looking rod also. Gives the SLX some competition. But, if you're a Daiwa fan, that's the rod you go with. If you're a Shimano fan, you go with the SLX. They're both, I don't know how they do it. They look really good.
That Tatula XT felt great too.
It feels really good. It looks really cool.
Nice spread.
Yeah.
From, like 4 or 5 spinnings.
Yeah.
And plenty of castings for, you could literally equip yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of their concept with these $99 rods,
Yeah.
Daiwa's looking at it like, we have customers that want to buy, several rods a year.
Yeah.
And, the high dollar rods, it's just not necessarily feasible.
Right.
So, they took a really good blank.
Yeah.
And
came up with the right actions.
It's right. It's done right.
It's done right. So that was good for Daiwa. They did really good deal.
We're going to be putting that whole entire
so what
product line
did they come out with a whole another Daiwa Tatula reel again to add to the 8 million Tatula?
I'm sure they came out with 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, so we couldn't even keep track of those Tatulas that are coming out.
I don't think
we love Daiwa, but we hate the way they come out with 8,000 reels, and they make them all black. Can't tell them apart. So
just come in and ask for a Tatula. The answer is yes.
Yeah, and then of course, Abu Garcia's redid their whole entire line again. They're trying to make another push at it. It's just something with Abu. And I'm probably going to get some hate mail here, but there's something with Abu that just doesn't fly around here. It just doesn't go well. In the Northeast, it's just not a big seller for us up here. And then the other thing that Abu people tell me is everything changes all the time. I think the SX is on like generation 5 or something already. It's like every year they change the reel, and it doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do us any good as a dealer. It doesn't do you guys any good as a customer who might like a certain brand, and all of a sudden they change it on you. So they're terrible for it, but they're making another big push at it. They got some pretty great ideas and stuff going on there. but I don't know. It's going to be a tough sell for us. We'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. And then
Patrick Hilbert chimed in. Poor rep. I wonder how that feels.
yeah.
Don't worry, Patrick. We took it easy on you, bro.
Yeah.
We took it. Hey,
well, I mean,
we took it easy on you, bro.
Yeah.
We could have freaking nuked you, but we didn't because we kind of like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just imagine if you ever get on our bad side. I know you're smiling and laughing, dog.
That's right. Oh, and Penn won best saltwater reel with the Allegiance, is it called?
I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I was. Well, you should have, because you were there for like 3 hours.
2.
They trapped you in a room. That was cool. We go in there and they trap George in this room because they know they want to freaking browbeat him on all this stuff from Abu Garcia and all these other ones, Fenwick and all that kind of crap. And they browbeat him to death. They throw him in this room and lock him in this room with 5 or 6 guys. And then I'm like, I'm out of here, bro. I got to go to another meeting. And I look back at George and he's like,
well, they had
help me.
They had the head of their reel design department.
Yeah.
And what they did was they completely redesigned every one of their revos.
Yeah.
For like the 4th time.
Yeah.
And he brought
Everyone.
every single revo into this room. And this guy is a genius on reels.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he gave me the red carpet A++ presentation, and I couldn't leave because the knowledge that I was given access to what goes on in the real design world.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude was laying it out. You were there for
I was there for that. Yeah. Yeah. He was awesome, man.
And then they brought their rod designer in, who
we've known for
Mike
years.
and I have known for years.
Yeah.
And same thing. I mean, he started getting into like the construction of the blanks and I mean the finest little tiniest details involved in that. So that was pretty cool. And they brought in Dr. John Prochnow.
Yeah, right.
Who invented power bait for God's sakes and is in the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And my man sits down and gives me a freaking presentation on what's new in power bait, max scent, and gulp.
Yeah.
And suffice it to say,
they
have got it going on in power bait, max scent, and gulp.
Yeah.
And the guy that told me about it is the guy that invented it.
Sitting in on the meeting.
Dr. John Prochnow.
That was awesome.
And I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I like me some Maxent. I like me some power bait. You've all heard me say numerous times that I consider Pure Fishing the evil empire. And I consider Spirit Lake, Iowa, the Death Star. And I mean, I don't mean that reality. I'm just saying they're so giant and massive and big that they squash bugs like us and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
We're just on the windshield of life.
Yeah.
And for them to sit down in that meeting, and there's a regional sales manager for the Northeast who's been with them for a very long time who got my back on that and got that all put together for us.
Yeah.
It was that Dr. John Prochnow and what they're doing with gulp.
Yeah.
They figured out how to make gulp translucent. They figured out how to make gulp shiny.
Yeah.
What they're doing with power bait with this honeycomb minnow chatterbait trailer that they came out with, that honeycomb construction technique. I mean, you got to give props where props are due.
Well,
when it comes to baits, they are badass.
We've always loved the Power Bait brand, and we've always loved working with Berkeley for that stuff.
We carry it all,
and you know their line, and we've always loved the stuff that they've done there, and we really love our national our Northeast sales manager, great guy. They've always the local guys always treated us really well and always tried to keep us in the loop, and even when we lost reps, they couple of the guys from up in the New England states, they really helped us out, answered questions, drove down here. We love them. We love them. It just, these other areas in Abu Garcia and some of that other stuff that we have to really look at, and we have to get your guys input on it. And if you guys ask for it, we'll have it. If you don't ask for it, it's not worth it. It's not worth us for us to carry, just to have. So if you guys are really Abu fans and you want us to carry it, just let us know. You got to come in,
so
talk to us.
I'm going to go out on a limb here based upon the last. I'm just going to round it up. Let's just call it a round number.
Oh, here we go.
Let's just call it a freaking round number, okay? I don't care what comments come in on this machine right here, but check this out. I've been selling Revos since there's been Revos.
Yeah.
And in the last 10 years, small pro shop tackle shops like ours cannot sell Revos.
Yeah.
Okay? It is a big box brand. It is you got to discount it brand. And I'm not saying anything other than I've tried them in 4 different positions in the showcases. I've tried to give away $40 hoodies with every one of them. I don't tell you.
Yeah.
In this part of the world,
it's a tough sell.
It's like trying to sell Quantum.
You
can't sell Quantum around here.
No. You
can't sell Revos around here. And even online, our Revo sales suck.
Yeah.
So the new Revos are badass. They're sweet.
Yeah.
Supposedly the gear wear issue was the big focus of the redesign. Yeah. Hey,
and
we'll see.
And
we'll see.
We'll continue to have a couple.
Because we will stock some.
A couple, yeah. We always dabble in it.
They go all the ways up to their $499.99 Xenon.
That spinning reel was freaking badass.
Casting too, but I'm just letting you know.
Gotcha.
Okay. So
FYI. Ed Radnowski, how you doing? Colby Roar, how are you doing? Johnny Kopp, what do you say, buddy? Kenwood.
I saw a couple things in the spinnerbait world that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could reinvent a spinnerbait. There's 900,000 spinnerbaits on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And by God, 2 of the hottest spinnerbaits I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
One is from our good friend at Nichols.
Oh, yeah. That's a great spinnerbait.
The Catalyst.
Yeah.
This thing is
beautiful.
This is a cross between a McLaren and a Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely beautiful.
Plated frame, plated head, plated hook, high-end Nichols quality brass plated blades with a high-end swivel and a high-end hook and a hand-tied not really hand-tied, but a hand-tied kind of modified one-of-a-kind hole-in-one style of skirt.
Yeah.
This thing is all about it.
It's fantastic.
And as luck would have it, Brooks told us we're number 1 on the list in the entire country to get a delivery.
Yeah.
So look for the Catalyst.
Yep.
Now I got to grab a sample of another spinnerbait here. Bear with me 1 second.
Which one's that? Which one's that?
That Mustang.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is a cool one. This is a spinnerbait that you wouldn't necessarily even think that it would come from this company, but the evolution of a spinnerbait is happening right in front of our eyes with this spinnerbait right here.
Mustad makes hooks.
Yeah, I don't know why they're getting into the bait industry.
And they should continue to make hooks.
Yeah.
And their emphasis should be on making hooks.
Yeah. I don't get this whole bait thing with them.
Every year they try to make lures.
Yeah.
And bucktails and jigs, and it never works.
Yeah.
Now they're making rods. Now they're making,
yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. They may have come up with something. That wire, grab that package off my desk, would you? That wire right there is connected to the head, and it's connected to the bottom of the R-bend. And that wire prevents this head wire from bending. So for all you guys out there that like boat flip your fish on a spinnerbait and then wonder why you break your spinnerbaits, or smallmouth fish, and smallies are just naturally just mean tackle destroying machines, and they just rip these wires apart. That ain't happening, bro. It's called the arm lock spinnerbait from Mustad, and it's going to have limited skews to it, but it's going to have a lot of the high points hit. I mean, this won't be one we carry, but there's a lot of other ones in there that will. They have a good quality blade. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm not really totally blown away by Hook Company getting into spinnerbait.
I don't like
but
that.
You know what?
I don't like it at all.
I'm not hating on them either.
I like the spinnerbait.
I'm not hating
I
on
like
them
the
either.
idea of the spinnerbait, but I
Yeah, but you can't be hating on them either because they've
not.
been trying and trying and
Yep.
trying and trying.
Yep.
And actually, their jig head lineup looks fantastic.
Oh, their jig heads are beautiful.
You know, a lot of it has to do with who's in charge of making the decision on where the products are going to be made. Well, the guy that they got now knows what he's doing. So that was pretty cool. And that is from Mustad. That's the arm lock. And we hope to see some of those in here this fall as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I stole a sample from Yamamoto of the new Slinko. So the Slinko is basically a deep ribbed Senko style bait.
It's just salty.
I didn't test it, but
Care to have me test it?
yeah, you can test it.
We're going to do the official. I don't think it is.
But this it isn't. I don't think this was designed for fishing
Saltless.
Yeah, it was designed for fishing on a
It's their floating.
Shaky style head.
It's their floating formula.
And it's their floating formula. So you fish it on a shaky head. You can Nico rig this.
Texas rig it.
You can Texas rig it. It's going to float up a little differently. It's something new from Yamamoto. We got a couple packs here that we're gonna try. See what it's all about. So that was new from Yamamoto. Yamamoto was purchased, for people that don't know. They were just recently purchased. Gary Yamamoto sold the company to a company down in Florida, I believe.
Texas, but that's close.
Yeah. What's the name of that company?
GSM.
Yeah, GSM. And GSM's just buying everybody up. So one of the things that they're doing is, boy, you really took a bite out of that thing.
Took a bite out of crime.
Holy hell.
So GSM bought Yamamoto. They bought Bill Lewis Rattle Traps, and they just acquired Buckeye Lure Company. And their goal, they made it known that they're going to buy and become one of the biggest tackle brands in the industry. And they're the biggest hunting brand in the industry, and they have more money than they know what to do with. So, and they hired a guy from Strike King to run the joint by the name of Crispin Pauly, and he knows what he's doing. So we will see what happens there. But they brought out the Slinko. They brought out the 3-inch Zako. They brought out the 3-inch and the 5-inch shad shape worm, for their Yamamoto line. So they're making some moves. They're making some moves, and they have lots of stuff in the pipeline for all their brands and their brands that they are working on acquiring. So
yeah,
that was another interesting find there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spro obviously is getting into the plastics business. They're doing the TPE, which is basically the Z-Man style plastic. We did tell you about the CJ Smasher.
Yeah.
So
great stuff.
The CJ Smasher is Corey and Chris Johnston's drop shot worm. And lo and behold, the week before ICast, they were up on the St. Lawrence putting this thing to work and putting some bags in the boat.
Yep.
Well, all of the colors are now in stock. All of the colors are now in stock. Just a little FYI for you there, Andre, just so you can feel confident. Senko and Yamamoto is still being made in Page, Arizona, in the same factory by the same people. It's even shipping from Page, Arizona.
Yeah, and they're not going to change it.
They're not. They don't even ship it from their main distribution center. They make the products there. They package the products there, and they ship the products from there. So the baits are absolutely not changing at all.
Nope.
They're adding new baits in.
Yeah,
they haven't changed that Senko at all, and they're not going to. Their theory is, why change the Senko?
Yeah, they're not going to change the Senko, but the pros that were working with Gary Yamamoto, anytime they wanted to do something, it was a color, but they couldn't change the bait, come out with a new bait. So these are baits that now that they're backed by a bigger company and they can do some stuff, the pros get a chance to to come out with their little things that they wanted to do. So these are all pro driven baits. The Slinko is a pro driven bait. They had something else out too that I can't remember what that was, but the 3-inch version of the Zako, because for you guys that aren't throwing that Mighty Mini, George, Mighty Mini, Mighty,
what are you talking
chatterbait?
Oh yeah, Mini Max.
The Mini Max.
Mini Max is hot.
Everybody we talked to was like, they're all fired up about this little 3-inch Seiko. And that's not just the Yamamoto pros. It was people that we talked to all around the show. They're all fired up about that thing because that Mini Max apparently is a total sleeper. This thing is like a total sleeper, and these guys are catching fish on it, and they're keeping it on the down low.
Yeah,
So
the Mini Max is hot.
Mini Max is definitely hot.
Mini Max is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's CJ Smasher. All the rest of the colors are in. They have, Gobi. They have green pumpkin purple flake. They have green pumpkin pink. They've got the St. Lawrence Slayer.
Yep.
Come on. And the brothers put them to work. They dropped the hammer on them. Yeah. So they're in. Missile, we went over to see our boys at Missile, and they are launching plastic trailer / creature bait / drag it on a swing head, all the above, called the Chunky D.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger than the Mini D Chunk. It's got more body to it. It's not really a chunk looking bait. It's more of a crawl / creature style looking bait. It looks great.
Yeah.
Looks great. Looks great on a chatterbait. Looks great on a swim jig. Looks great on a flipping jig. Looks great on a punch rig. Looks great on a Texas rig. Looks great on a swing head. Can't wait to get it in here. Should be shipping pretty quick.
Yeah.
So our good friends over at Missile, they had something groovy for us to look. They had some other stuff too. They had some new colors and some new jigs and
Yep.
And then kind of winding this up on the tackle side of things before we move on to some other info and that you can use this summer is Strike King launched a lot of products. Imagine that. But let's say 10 products were pretty special. I'll tell you 2 of them that really caught my eyeball just because we need more tungsten jigs. They launched a tungsten compact casting jig, and it's pretty freaking sweet. And then they launched a Chick Magnet Junior. Now, you'll recall last year, this spring, we were wearing them out on the Chick Magnet.
Yep.
And this little junior size is going to get us a little shallower, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that we got that going for us. And that is our product wrap up review. ICast 2022. Glad to be home. I'm sure we'll be going back again next year. But we're glad to be home. We're glad to be bringing it back into the house here. And we're reinvigorated. And we are, we're fired up to fish. We're fired up to bring all these awesome products to you. Hell, I came home from ICast. I got home at 3:30 in the morning Saturday. I was at work at 8. I came in and worked on Sunday just so I could start getting some products ordered up. I
was here at 7:30.
Were you?
Yep.
Oh my.
And I don't think you got here till 8:30, but you did bring breakfast, so that was okay.
My. So Mike's got his scorecard out.
Yeah.
Dropping the hammer on me.
Yeah, I always have to listen to it every time I come in.
Well. So listen, guys. Let's call that ICast 2022. Let's not dwell on that topic anymore.
I loved it. It was fun. I had a good time.
Give me a little segue music. You know, a little something to kind of break up the monotony of just vocalization. Give me a little something.
Well, we're going to move into another heading, and this is going to call fishing in the heat. Just want to touch on this a little bit because we didn't get to it last time at our on Tackle Shop Live, not last week, but the week before. We wanted to talk about it, and that was fishing this tremendous heat and the tournaments that are going on this time of year. Talked to a guy today. He fished a tournament on Sunday. He had a nice bag of fish. He had a really nice live well with oxygenator and recirculation and all this kind of stuff. And he killed 3 fish out of his 5-fish limit. And I said, well, how much ice did you put in the live well? He said, no, I didn't use any ice. It just got so hot in there, it killed him. And I said, well, no kidding. You got to put ice in your water. You got to take care of your fish when you put them in the live well. And that's not, the oxygenator is nice and the recirculation is nice. But if you don't keep that water cold, it superheats the water underneath the deck. And he was like, yeah, I figured that out now. I said, yeah, well, I mean, this is stuff you guys got to know before you go fishing.
Well, the information's out there. So
it is out there.
It
burns me up. People don't use it.
Gene Gilland, who's the bass conservation guru, he gave us a laminated card when we fished the classic that was on Wiley. And it was an August classic in South Carolina.
Hotter than frickin'
And he said, here's the deal. We had a meeting. He sat us down. He gave us a laminated card. He goes, here's the deal. We're going to give you all kinds of ice. When you get to your first spot in the morning, we want you to fill your live well and put this big block of ice in there. And then he even had our Rejuvenate measured out for us. He's like, dump a bag of this in.
Well, that was the early days of Rejuvenate. I think it just came out.
It was out there for a little bit.
I thought,
I mean, he measured it out for us.
Yeah.
In these bags.
Yeah.
He said, dump a bag in. Get that water temperature about 10 degrees below the surface temperature of the lake. Put your thing on recirc. That's going to build up the oxygen level in your tank above the lake. Now we have oxygenators also, but you can't use Rejuvenate with oxygenators because of the salt. You got to use G-Juice. And then, put your fish in there. Keep that recirc pump running nonstop. And about halfway through the day, now obviously you're going to add ice as the day goes on. About halfway through the day, pump that live well out. That gets rid of all those ammonia buildup in the water. That gets rid of all those basically toxins to the fish. Fill it back up again and do it again.
Yeah.
Now, the other critical part of this is when you're making a run down the lake, put your boat up on pad and start down the lake and just crack that live well lid open a little bit. Hold it with your hand, reach back like this, crack it open a little bit, and let that air blow in there and circulate out, because trapped above that water is a bad gases and stuff that really destroys oxygen content in the water and is bad for the fish. And that vents that. And, don't, at the end of the day, when you get back into the live well, to the weigh-in, don't dip your bag in the lake and put all that nasty, hot-ass water in your bag and then throw your fish in there and shock them. Pump your live wells into your bag and then take your fish and put them in the water they've been swimming in for the last 4 hours. And that procedure is critical for warm weather fishing. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you do that a couple times a day.
You know, you want to make sure once you fill your live well that you switch off the pump that brings lake water in. You don't want to bring lake water in anymore. Once your live well's full, you turn that off, no more lake water, and you put the recirculate on. The recirculate sucks the water out of the live well and sprays it back into the live well and magnifies that oxygen level. And you're treating that water with ice and treatment so they're in the proper water. If you do all that and then bring outside water in, everything's just going to flow out your overflow, and you're going to defeat that whole purpose.
Right.
And this
time of year
works.
But this time of year, if you try to use that fresh water fill, the water's too hot to keep those fish in that live well. It's too hot. It's surface water. It's not taking the water where the fish are coming from. So, just be careful. That doesn't work when you say, "Oh, I'm taking water from the," I was running my fill pump all day today, and I still lost fish. Well, that's because you're taking surface temperature, 90-degree water, surface temperature, and putting it into the live well, and the fish came out of 70-degree water, 10 feet or 12 feet down, and those fish aren't used to that. So, plus the heat beating on the top of that deck, man, I'm telling you, it superheats that water.
You're putting ice in your live well to cool your live well water about 10 degrees below the lake.
Yeah.
The water has to be cold.
Because that holds oxygen. Cold water, we were told that a long, long time ago when we started keeping bait in here. And the guy says the number one thing you got to do is keep that water cold. 50, we have our water's in the 50s here for our bait.
If you're going up north, we're talking about the northern swing all the time. If you're going up north to fish a smallie tournament on the St. Lawrence River and it's hot out, you better stop in the morning and get yourself a minimum of 6 bags of ice, because you need 6 bags of ice minimum to get through the day. Minimum.
Yeah, and a cooler. And make sure you have a cooler, because the damn coolers in the boats don't work.
And if you're fishing,
they don't keep ice.
A big tournament, you're going to have game plan on getting ice, because all the local places are going to be bought out.
Or you could do like Johnny Kopp says and just have a paper tournament, which works for clubs and stuff like that. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're fishing a club tournament and you're not doing paper, you're crazy in the summertime, because there's no need to kill fish in a club tournament. You can just paper tournament, do a paper tournament with scales, and it's a lot easier.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Yeah, and really you only got a little bit of June. You got the month of July and the month of August and a little part of September, and then you're out of it. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, depending on where you live. I know around here you got the whole freaking month of September. It's hot, hot, hot. But here's the deal. If you're a tournament fisherman, that's your decision. You owe it to your sport and your bass that you fish for and your other fishermen that are sharing the resource to go to great lengths to take care of your fish. Okay?
Yeah.
So that procedure that we talked about is legit. I mean, it's not that difficult to do. I mean, it's just not. It doesn't.
No. Here's the deal, George. Here's the deal with tournament fishing. You will find out that if we don't start taking care of these fish, and these guys up here in Thousand Islands are finding out about it right now, because there's protesting going on. There's the townspeople are freaking out about it. Now there's people going up there and they're saying, man, you're coming up here and killing all of our bass. You're just coming up to fish, and they're telling you that you're killing their fish. That's what they're saying. This is happening, and it's giving the sport a black eye. And then you know what happens? everybody's like, well, everybody's complaining about fishing. I don't know what their problems are. It's a self-inflicted started problem from the fishermen. So this is something we can do to help our sport, help it continue to go, help it with conservation, help the fish. Everybody's so conscious about catch and release, but yet you want to kill fish in a live well. I don't get it. So take the time and do it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it.
Yeah. Not to mention yourself fishing in the hot weather.
Huh. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. As hot as it gets for the fish, I mean, you got to take care of yourself too. And I did a paper. I wrote a paper for an article. I did a bunch of research on hydration, and I wrote a paper on it and published it in some kind of thing.
I noticed you've been working on it for years too.
What, the drinking of the water?
Hydrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hydrate. Hydrate all the time. Which I'm, we're having a problem with Nick's microphone right now, so he's not really being able to talk. There's something wrong with the connection here. We don't know. We have to check it out after we get off the air. But I know he has a lot to say. But what I wanted to ask him was how his liver was after ICast, because Nick, we were breaking Nick in. We started breaking him in a couple weeks ago because we were worried about him going down here to ICast, and we just want to make sure his liver is all right. And he trooper all the way through, man, right to the end of the night. But hydration starts when you wake up in the morning, and there's two things that you got to do when you wake up in the morning, and that's pound down a good bottle of water, get that in your system right away, and put sunscreen on before you leave the house. That's the two things you need to do before you even go fishing. It takes 30 some minutes for sunscreen to activate. 30 minutes. You know that?
I did not.
Yeah, it takes 30 minutes. So when you're slapping that stuff on, and at 12 o'clock when the sun's been beating on you, you're 30 minutes goes by and you're still burning until that stuff activates. So you want to make sure you do that. But meanwhile, if you slam a couple waters first thing in the morning, so we get up, we drink water in the morning, we get in a truck, we drink a bottle of water on the way to the tournament, and then we have our water on the boat, and we try to hydrate every time, every half an hour or so. You want to keep hydrating throughout the day. And then when
generally speaking, we do a terrible job of
it. But then when you get home and you go inside and you sit down in a chair and you pass out on the couch, and your wife's like, "What the hell's the matter with you? All you did was fish today." "Oh, honey, you don't know. You don't understand how tiring it is. The elements. It's the elements. It's get you so tired. You don't understand, honey." And she's like, "Get out there and mow the grass, dummy, right now." And you're dying on the couch. You won't have such bad fatigue if you follow that procedure throughout the day and keep yourself well hydrated throughout the day. That doesn't mean soda. That doesn't mean a lot of these things, and only a little bit of Gatorade for electrolytes, only a little bit. They don't want you to take a lot of that,
Well, Pedialyte's a big deal for that. George Ashbridge, pointing it out here.
Absolutely.
In the construction.
Yes.
Because they're out there.
Those guys know all about it, man. They work out in that sun all day long. They're drinking. They wake up in the morning. They're drinking. They're preparing themselves, their bodies for a hard day in the sun. And there he goes. He carries a Pedialyte in his box, probably hammers that twice during the day, and that'll really help you. But Gatorade is not a good one. Is not a good one for that. Absolutely not a good one. A lot of people turn you away from Gatorade. A lot of doctors.
How about pickle juice?
Don't know about that.
If you're cramping up, you drink some pickle juice. At least that's what they do on the sideline of the football game.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Pickle juice?
Oh, yeah.
I thought bananas. No, but you can't carry bananas in a boat. Oh, geez. There we go. That doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Hey, give me some segue music, because I have an interesting topic that you're going to love.
Are you going off script here?
Oh, yeah. So, I've been hearing all this talk about live scope, forward facing, Humminbird versus Lowrance versus Garmin. And, you know, the LVS 32 transducers, all of a sudden it's no good. You have to have the LVS 34. And I'm thinking, well, I can see my 4-inch Zoom finesse worm 45 feet in front of my boat, pop it up off the bottom and see my sinker. So apparently the LVS 34 transducer, I can see it on the other side of the lake, farther than I can even cast. So apparently I have to cut all my wires off my boat, throw it all away, and get a new one because I was told repeatedly how terrible my system is. But that's not what I'm totally going down on. I'm aggravated, people. I'm aggravated by all this talk about the rapid pace of this electronics boom. Listen, the LVS 32 is great. It's phenomenal. It's incredible. And most of the people who were telling me about how awesome the LVS 34 is and how bad the LVS 32 is have never even seen an LVS 34 in the water.
Yeah.
They've never even seen it. And the other people that are telling me how horrible the LVS 32 is and how awesome the LVS 34 is have never seen an LVS 32. They've only seen an LVS 34. I don't know. I'm just saying, let's just use our common sense faculties that we all possess. And let's say if we can see a Zoom 4-inch finesse worm 45 feet away, shaking on the bottom, and then pop it up in the air and actually make out the sinker as a second reading, that don't suck. When we have videos of Jacob Wheeler with 2 boats spot locked on a bridge, one with an LVS 32 and one with a low rance, and he can see farther with the low rance. I don't know. I'm just saying, can we just like get rational here? We're getting carried away. And let me tell you what happens when you get carried away. You might make a decision like the Pro Muskie tournament circuit.
Yeah.
Pro Muskie
I read
Tournament Trail has banned forward-looking sonar. So you can have LVS 32, LVS 34. Hell, you can have all 4 of them on your trolling motor shaft. It can look like a freaking colony of birds.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can't use any of them.
Nope.
Because the last tournament they had, the guys that won it caught 10 big-ass muskies, and the second place team had 2. So they're like, oh, this is voodoo. We can't have this anymore.
Yep.
Now, it's only for the balance of this season, the remaining 2 tournaments, their final tournament and their championship tournament. But, you know, I just think we all have to take a deep breath, relax, and
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes here,
we're
boys.
We're all gifted with the common sense muscle. And let's just use it, okay? All you people that have the LVS 32 transducer, the sky is not falling. You will be able to see all kinds of wonderful things in your world, even though you don't have the new LVS 34 transducer. Okay?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you can't even get. Which, by the way, shameless plug, if you want one, we got one. They are non-existent. We got one. We got a nice little 10-inch Garmin to go with it. We can get you all packaged up, polished up, and shipped out the door tomorrow. So keep that in mind. If you want a 32, if you can downgrade yourself like that,
Save yourself.
call me up because I'll make you the sweetest deal in forward-seeking town.
Well, you know, it's cheaper. 32.
I just found it interesting that, you know,
I loved it.
the sky's falling.
I loved it. I loved that the Muskie.
I literally have to throw my LVS 32.
I loved
away.
that the Muskie guys shut it down. You know,
I can't even fish with it anymore.
I loved it.
It's so bad that I have to throw it away and buy a new one.
Well, I mean, a lot of guys too.
I'm gonna rip it right out of the boat.
A lot of
screws, everything.
You know, we've talked about this before. You know, the learning curve with this sonar. We can't even learn it in time before something new comes out.
Well, and then all your learnings, for nothing.
It really is. But I was talking to
did I get my point across?
I was talking to Nick, and Nick was traveling with Greg DePalma at a tournament. He was down there doing some social media work with him, and at night he was back at the hotel or whatever we with those guys were staying at, and I think you said who was the guy staying there knew all about the electronics, who made some adjustments on your. Was it Pickett or?
Yeah, Garrett Paquette.
Yeah, Garrett Paquette, and Greg said to Garrett, "Hey, go over and make those adjustments on Nick's hummingbirds for so he has those adjustments on his thing." So he goes over and he just does these adjustments that these guys have learned over time on Nick's unit, and Nick fishes the next day and he's like, "Holy crap!" The adjustments they made a huge difference in your picture and your accuracy and your quality of fishing. That's where a lot of us are. We're back at factory settings. We haven't even really messed with a lot of this stuff. That stuff takes time and
wide open.
And by the time you figure it out, or you're starting to figure it out, they come out with this new thing and you're like, holy hell, maybe that's the one I need. Well, I'm telling you, man,
no, you don't.
You just need to figure out the one you have. And
you don't.
And Nick was like, I can't believe the difference, with that one. And
you don't have to.
I'm talking for Nick,
off.
but he told me that story, and I found that very, very interesting. That the settings are, that we're all trying to figure them out. Once you hit it, it's like, oh my God, this does so much better. So your stuff is good. You just need to learn how to use it. Hummingbirds stay in business, trying to get Mega 360 for every year. I know, D-Mac, trying to get stuff from anybody right now.
How long did that last shipment of 360s last in here?
Well, that's the thing. You order, guys like us, we order, 8 or 10 of them, which is a lot for our shop, and we get 3. Some of these big places are ordering hundreds of them, and they're getting 15. They're not even getting that many. They're just not making enough of them. That they can't get they can't get the stuff. I don't know how they stay.
Who
in
knows?
business.
Who knows?
I don't know how they stay. I don't know how any of these guys stay in business. I guess if you can make as much as you can possibly make and sell every stinking piece of it, that's how you make money. I don't know, D-Mac. It's frustrating.
15% increase in the first quarter of 2022. So I'd say they're doing all right.
Well, they're doing all right for it. They ain't doing all right for us. I guess there's just that many people buying it now.
Well, no, I believe their shareholders might disagree with you.
Q1
they were up 15.
How much
points.
for a 32?
Well, that's a phone call.
Yeah, call us up, Ken. Give us a call.
All right, Mike, we got a Major League Fishing Pro Circuit event on Lake Champlain.
Coming up next
kicking
week.
off tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow, not next
tomorrow,
week.
yep,
tomorrow.
Yep.
Next week we have the Bass Pro Tour on Cayuga. So we have back-to-back events.
Locally here, we have the kayak series from what is it? The Hobie kayak series starting tomorrow or Friday. So everybody's in town.
I believe it's Saturday.
We've been talking all day long with a bunch of guys. Yesterday they started rolling in. There's 200 boats in this event. 200 kayaks in this event.
There's actually 199 kayaks and one paddleboard.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How you knew that?
I saw it on social media.
Oh, I saw the paddleboard guy out here. He was stopped in the shop today.
That girl that won that we talked about on our early season that won the big event down south. She's fishing out of a paddleboard because the river's so low.
I guess that guy wasn't fishing that tournament then.
I don't know.
He had paddle boards on top. He had those blow up ones. Those but did you see those down there,
man,
Nick, at ICast, the boat stuff?
My man
That's unbelievable.
He runs into some of them rock ledges out there, and he better have some gorilla tape with him and a pump, because we got a man down on the mine river.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They say you can't pop that stuff, but
oh yeah,
that'd
ain't been on the Susquehanna. Did you ever look at the bottom of my jet boat?
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
So they got. It's going to be interesting. The river is super low. It's going to be a very, very interesting tournament. I think it's going to be a lot of big fish caught. It's going to be challenging for a lot of people, but if you stumble on the right pot of fish or the right pattern, you're going to catch big fish. You just need to stumble on that right little population of fish, whether it's a ledge, because I don't think there's one pattern. I think there's a great ledge pattern that's going to produce. I think there's a shallow flat pattern that's going to produce, and I think there's a grass bed pattern that's going to produce very well. You just need to stumble on the right circumstances and present it properly, and you guys are going to catch the hell out of them. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be unique that the river's this low. So I was talking to some guys that said that you don't necessarily have to fish out of your kayak. You can actually get out and hold the kayak. It has to be attached to you somehow, and then you can fish. So, dragging over ledges and fishing ledges and stuff, or fishing different areas, they can actually get out of their boat, which I didn't understand.
I'm going to make a bold prediction on this event.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the winner and his total inches.
Okay.
And I'm taking all side action.
It's 2 days, 5 fish.
I'm covering all side bets.
It's 5 fish.
Charles Dougherty. Sir Charles will win this event hands down. And he will dominate and just roll with 184 inches.
184?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to go higher.
Nope. Charles has some limitations. I mean, he can only cast so far. He can't see real well. He only has a few techniques, so he's going to be in that 184 inch range. But there you go. That's my prediction on this event. I'll have you know, I've never been right on any of my predictions on this kayak. Who's going to win?
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about this one.
So I think Mike Iaconelli is going to be fishing this tournament. There's a lot of big names that are in town. We have a lot of great local guys fishing. Matter of fact, one of the guys who was in today won a little 27 kayak tournament on the river last week. And he didn't have 100 inches.
Well, I got news for you. That's only one day.
Yeah, but he didn't have 100 inches.
Well, that would be 200 for the event. So, I mean,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying y'all better watch out for Charles Dougherty.
I'm going to take the under on just the inches.
Sir Charles.
No, I'm not taking Sir Charles.
184 inches.
Sir Charles.
You going under?
I'm going under.
All right. Get me here, Mike.
Well, good luck to all those competitors in the Hobie kayak tournament. I hope you guys do really well. Have fun, fish hard, catch giant bags, catch giant smallmouth. And for all you guys, I did have something to say here on somebody said something here. Anyway, I was going to answer a question here that I lost it. Yep. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping and listening to and watching another edition of the Tackle Shop. And remember, it's every Thursday night, 7:00. Go to all of our social medias, like and share, and comment. And leave us some nice comments. We always read them all. We read everything. And Mickey 184. That's a pretty good guess. I'm going to go under though. I think it's going to be 179, 80, 180. We'll go with 180. Yeah. So there you have it. Have a great one. We'll see you next time at the Tackle Shop.
Hobie's lover. sunny day. Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, please love her. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know just what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me